We love the idea of representing our region with this food, and if you're doing that, you need to get a lot of your proteins from the region. It's really important to purchase from this region too, to help our local economy.
I think that the smokehouse is unique in that it is truly a food business that started from someone's passion. He's obsessed with the details of the food. He's obsessed with what it means to people. He loves the people that work here and really tries to foster that love in them too. So,
the other thing that we really try to focus on is consistent quality. I guess attention to detail and attention to place is what I've hopefully brought to this food culture here in Duluth. I grew up in a food family. My mom was a great cook. Kind of fell in love with good food, and we grew up fishing a lot, and we ended up, I grew up in Iowa, but we started fishing Lake Michigan for salmon, and my dad would mess around smoking fish, and I really liked it. And then I was in the Coast Guard in Southeast Alaska, Sitka, Alaska, and that's where I really my love of preserving food really came into being, and I moved here from Alaska in 1995, and in 1998, I got out of the Coast Guard and started the smokehouse, smoking and preserving fish and meats from this region. When I lived in Alaska, I had access to so much fish. I fished and hunted all the time and kind of developed recipes and ways to preserve venison and salmon and halibut. And I really fell in love with that process of preserving food. And I thought, here I could start something that uniquely represented this region. There wasn't anybody in there. There's a lot of smokehouses in the region, but there was nobody in my eyes that was using a style of fish from Southeast Alaska called Kippering. And so I thought I could come here and utilize fish from Lake Superior, and use that style of smoking to truly represent Lake Superior, the region. Growing up in Iowa, I did lots of trips to the Boundary Waters. We were a big kind of camping and fishing family, and did lots of trips as a kid to the Boundary Waters in Quetico. And so I knew about Duluth, and so I and my wife wanted to go to grad school from Alaska, so we decided to get stationed here in Duluth. And it was a great move. Loved the area, and like I said, we wanted to truly represent Lake Superior with our food.
One of the things that I love about working here is the culture of the people that work at this place. They really enrich all of the lives of their coworkers, our customers, I think, in just sort of showing up to a job that they actually care about and sort of authentically giving service and sort of celebrating the idea that food is a great way to bridge gaps with people and a great way to find common ground. So that's kind of part of the ethos that Eric had in setting up this company, was to really celebrate people and food and how interconnected they are. So I really enjoy that part of it.
My foray into retail was I put a single door glass cooler up in the kind of reception area of the business, and I put priced salmon in there and a coffee can for people to put their fish in. It was an honor system, their money in, and so people would come in and grab fish out of the cooler and put money in the can, and I was like, oh, this is pretty cool. And I noticed that people really liked smoked fish, especially around the holidays. People like to celebrate with it, which is a big badge of honor for us. Like, we're part of people's celebrations, and anyway, so then in my mind's eye, I wanted to do a shop where we could sell our smoked fish and cheese and other sundries. And then I just blossomed into making more of our products, which we've always kind of held dear, is trying to make as much of this stuff as we can. So we make our own sauces for the sandwiches. We ferment sauerkraut and kimchi for the sandwiches. and then make all of our own deli meats and smoked fish. Some of our processes are super unique. Like the salami production is just, it's a process that was developed over 1,000 years ago as a way to preserve meat through the winter prior to refrigeration. And the idea of fermenting that meat and then dry curing it so it's shelf stable is really cool, but it also turned into an art form in all these little cities in Europe, and to continue that here is really exciting. It's just a really fun process. I also love our liver pate. It's a really unique, cool product, and all of our smoked fish is amazing. I eat it every day.
I think we're really akin to like a traditional deli. There are some really famous examples like Katz's in New York. We're similar to places like that, but we definitely have our own unique spin on it, which is sort of a more northern spin, I would say. We lean more into smoking fish and things like that, although we do a lot of other stuff too. But I think our focus has always been a little bit more on that. And so as a result, instead of a giant pastrami sandwich, which you can get here too, but our most popular sandwich is made with smoked fish, which is pretty unusual. So I guess we're just kind of a deli with different aspirations.
I think it's a really beautiful thing that you grew up fishing the Great Lakes with your dad, learning how to smoke fish, enjoying the North Shore and the Boundary Waters. You're able to pull from every angle of your life to create this amazing Duluth story and this amazing brand that offers so much to this community.
Yeah, I feel blessed. I really do. It's a great ride.
And so I think culture is always being remade, and we've been lucky enough to sort of, if not preserve the exact same culture, preserve a really positive and welcoming culture.
This to me would be a great legacy. I grew up from I was a single employee. We now have 75 employees, several of which have bought houses. I've tried to turn these into real jobs for real people, because they are real people and they're great people. And I want the food service jobs to be good jobs. And so if that's my legacy, I'm super proud of that, because taking care of people is another, people talk about sustainability all the time, and that's really worthy cause, but part of that sustainability is sustaining people. And if people aren't sustained and they can't participate in the economy, then that's no legacy I want to be part of.